Hello everyone, I am Dr. Devesh and today I am going to discuss a very important topic which has been updated into 10th edition of the Robbins, right? So this is from the 10th edition of the Robbins which has been added, right? So it is from the 10th edition of the Robbins which I am going to discuss. And remember, this can be a very important future MCQ for upcoming NEET or next exam or AIMS exam or PGI exam. So this is very important topic, ferroptosis, right? So the topic is ferroptosis added in the new Robbins. So as you can see, the name itself is telling it is a iron induced programmed cell death. Iron induced programmed cell death. So what is this? Iron induced programmed cell death. So what is ferroptosis? Iron induced programmed cell death. If you look at the name, and you analyze the name, you will find that ferro means iron, tosis means falling off. Tosis is falling off, right? So that is the literal meaning of the ferroptosis. Just I'm writing to explain you. Just like an apoptosis, we remember falling off of the cell. So iron induced falling off is a kind of programmed cell death which is iron is doing, right? So iron induced programmed cell death is called as ferroptosis. What is the characteristic of ferroptosis? Iron in the cytoplasm. See, what is the characteristic of the ferroptosis? Iron in the cytoplasm, it will start the Fenton reaction. So remember, as I said, in the cytoplasm, it will start the Fenton reaction. And because of Fenton reaction, what will happen? There will be formation of the free radical, right? So in simple words, I am telling you, there will be formation of the free radical, which is also called as reactive oxygen species, right? So free radical or reactive oxygen species is formed, and this reactive oxygen species will be causing increased accumulation of lipid peroxide. Increased accumulation of lipid peroxide. And this lipid peroxide increased accumulation will be causing the ferroptosis. So in a simple word, I am just telling you what is the outline of the ferroptosis, right? Iron within the cytoplasm, they will be inducing Fenton reaction, and because of that, free radical will be formed. This will be forming increased lipid peroxides, which will be inducing the ferroptosis, right? So here I wanted to let you two important questions which examiner may ask in future exam. So that are, number one, what is the marker of ferroptosis? So remember, increased lipid peroxide accumulation within this cell is considered as marker of ferroptosis, right? So remember this point, marker of ferroptosis. What is the marker of ferroptosis? Increased lipid peroxide accumulation. So this is the question which examiner may ask in future exam. What is the marker of ferroptosis? And your answer will be increased lipid peroxide accumulation within this cell is called as marker of ferroptosis, right? So this is number one question which I wanted to let you know. Now the second question which I wanted to discuss, which examiner can ask you in exam, is what is the master regulator of ferroptosis? This is the another important MCQ. Who will be called as master regulator of ferroptosis, right? So this is the another important MCQ which examiner is going to ask in exam. Who is the master regulator of ferroptosis? So now your answer will be glutathione peroxidase 4. Remember, it is glutathione peroxidase 4. So glutathione peroxidase 4, which here onwards I will be writing in standard. This is standard abbreviation also, GPX4. So glutathione peroxidase 4 is the master regulator of the ferroptosis. This is again another important MCQ which examiner can ask you. Master regulator of ferroptosis is the GPX4, right? Which is glutathione peroxidase 4. Now I will explain you why this glutathione peroxidase 4 is called as master regulator. Why it is called as master regulator. So for that, I will explain you the normal cell and the mechanism. What happens inside the normal cell, I am going to explain you. Suppose I am showing you, this is the normal cell, right? This is the normal cell, and this is the lipid bilayer, means cell membrane, right? What I'm showing you, lipid bilayer means cell membrane, right? What happens in this first you will know that, we all know that in biochemistry we would have read that cysteine will come into the cell, and here inside the cell cysteine will be reduced. Inside the cell cysteine will be reduced to form cysteine, right? They will be forming cysteine, and cysteine, we all know that they will synthesize glutathione, right? So this will synthesize glutathione, right? So now I'm showing you synthesis of the glutathione. So this synthesized glutathione is actually, it is in reduced form. So we can denote this as a GSH, reduced form of glutathione, right? So this is the reduced form of the glutathione, right? So now this is happening inside the cell. Cysteine is coming, they are reduced inside the cell into the cysteine. Cysteine is going to synthesize, remember what I'm saying, cysteine is going to synthesize the reduced form of the glutathione. Remember, it is reduced form of the glutathione, right? What is the relation of the reduced form of the glutathione to the GPX4, right? So glutathione peroxidase 4. Remember here, glutathione peroxidase 4, glutathione, reduced form of glutathione is one of the important cofactor. Remember what I'm saying, that this is the one of the important cofactor. So that is the point we have to keep in mind, cofactor for GPX4. Remember what I'm saying, cofactor for GPX4 is the reduced form of the glutathione. So this reduced form of the glutathione is the important cofactor for the GPX4, right? So what happens, this glutathione with GPX4, what will happen here in the cell, this reduced form of glutathione will be getting oxidized to form oxidized form of the glutathione, which is called as disulfide. There you can see there are two sulfur bonds, so disulfide glutathione, or in simple word I will say that this is the oxidized glutathione, right? So what is this? This is the oxidized glutathione, right? So try to understand, when this glutathione is getting converted into reduced form is getting converted into oxidized form of the glutathione, that moment this GPX4 is inhibiting, remember, so this GPX4 will be inhibiting lipoperoxides or lipid peroxides. So this will inhibit lipid peroxide. So that is the normal thing you are seeing, right? So now you understood what is happening. They are inhibiting lipid peroxide. So that is the important point to note down. GPX4, which is present in our normal cell, they are going to inhibit lipid peroxide and they will prevent the cellular damage, right? That is the normal cell. That is what I said. This is the normal finding. But during this process, when GPX4 is inhibiting lipid peroxide, I again repeat, what is happening? Glutathione is getting oxidized into oxidized form of the glutathione. Once this process will happen, means once the GPX4 will inhibit this peroxide, then again this glutathione oxidized form will be converted into reduced form. So this will be converted into reduced form under the influence of another enzyme which is called as glutathione reductase. So here you will see glutathione reductase will take action. And now this will convert them into the reduced form of the glutathione. So you can see that it's a kind of cycle, right? GSH is getting converted into GSHG oxidized form, and after that, when this GPX4 is inhibiting the lipid peroxide formation, it will be again converted back into the reduced form of the glutathione. So that is how this sequence will be going on, right? So this is the normal thing, right? What happens in ferroptosis, right? What happens in ferroptosis? So now I am going to tell you what happens in ferroptosis, right? So as I said, inside the cytosol, when you are seeing the cytoplasm, what will happen? There will be excessive iron accumulation, that is the ferrous form. This ferrous form will be involved in Fenton reaction. We all know that Fenton reaction is oxidation of the iron in presence of hydrogen peroxide, and they are going to oxidize into ferric form of iron. And what is important? The production of the free radical, which is the hydroxyl free radical. So what is important here to notice is the production of the free radical. So this is the free radical or reactive oxygen species, right? So this free radical which has been produced. So now you can see that what is happening inside the cytoplasm. Whenever iron is more, Fenton reaction is activated, and because of this Fenton reaction, what we are seeing that free radicals are obtained, and this free radical will be causing lipid peroxide formation. Lipid peroxide formation, and this lipid peroxide will be leading to the ferroptosis, right? So this is how ferroptosis will be completed, right? So now you can see ferroptosis is completed. So in this process, what should have been happened here, right? What should have happened here? This lipid peroxide should have been inhibited by GPX4, but why it has not been done? Because of the lack of GSH. Remember, so whenever there is a decreased amount of, again I am writing, whenever there is a decreased amount of the reduced form, so this is the reduced form of the glutathione, this reduced form of the glutathione will inactivate. Remember, as I said, this is the important cofactor. You remember what I said? What I said, glutathione reduced form is important cofactor for GPX4, right? So what I am saying here, in ferroptosis, there is a decreased amount of GSH, reduced form, right? Because of this, what will happen? This will inactivate glutathione peroxidase 4, right? So now you can see that what is happening, there is a inactivation of glutathione peroxidase 4, right? So there is a inactivation of glutathione peroxidase 4 because of this less amount, right? And because of this inactivation, so now you can see that because of this inactivation, what will happen? This GPX4 will not be able to inhibit. So it will not be able to inhibit this lipid peroxide, right? So usually under normal condition, what will happen? GPX4 will come and they will inhibit the lipid peroxide. You remember what I have said earlier, that GPX4 under normal condition, they will inhibit the lipid peroxide. But what is happening in ferroptosis? Try to understand, during ferroptosis, there is a decreased amount of reduced form of the GSH, right? Because glutathione, because this will inactivate GPX4, and because of the inactivation, what we are seeing, there will be no inhibition of the lipid peroxide. So lipid peroxide will be formed and excessive amount of lipid peroxide will be accumulated, and this excessive amount of lipid peroxide will be causing ferroptosis. So that is the mechanism. Now again I will brief you. You can see what is happening in ferroptosis. There is a decreased amount of glutathione, which is causing inactivation of the glutathione peroxidase 4, which is master regulator of the ferroptosis, right? Because of this, what is happening? Because of this, increased cytosolic iron is causing Fenton reaction, forming the free radicals. Free radical is forming increased amount of lipid peroxides. And you remember what I have said in the beginning, this is the marker of ferroptosis, right? You remember this is the marker of ferroptosis. Once again I am writing so that you should not forget this future question in exam. So these are important point about the ferroptosis. As I said in the beginning, it is a programmed cell death. In short, I am writing programmed cell death. We know that programmed cell deaths are apoptosis, right? Earlier what we have read in the Robbins, apoptosis, pyroptosis, necroptosis, right? So all these are programmed cell death. And now there is a new addition in this 10th edition of the Robbins, which we are going to study is the, or which we are studying is the ferroptosis, right? So now what I want to show you here, this ferroptosis, how it differs from all other. Remember this, ferroptosis is a programmed cell death, but remember it differs from all other. So remember what are the differences? Biochemical, morphological, and genetical. These are the three aspects. On all these three aspects, ferroptosis differs from all other programmed cell death, right? All other programmed cell death. So what are the differences? I am going to enumerate them. That can be also a good question in future exam, right? So during ferroptosis, what you will see that, see, biochemically, if you look at the apoptosis or pyroptosis, they are using caspases, right? So I'm just writing, I'm not going into the detail of those things. Here you will see caspases involvement. Whereas when you are looking ferroptosis, as I have told you, what is important? Glutathione peroxidase 4 is present, right? So this is the biochemical or enzymatic or genetics, right? Now come to the morphological changes. What is the morphological changes you are seeing here? If you look at here, in apoptosis and pyroptosis and necroptosis, when you will see, you will find there is a cell shrinkage, right? Pyroptosis and necroptosis, you will find there is a cell swelling, right? So now you understood what I'm saying. Here you are seeing the cell shrinkage, here you are seeing this cell swelling, but when you are seeing here, in case of ferroptosis, you will find cells are normal and round, right? So cells are normal, no shrinkage, no swelling, right? Number one difference. Second thing, you will see that cell membrane will be intact. Cell membrane will be normal and intact. That is another important point which is differentiating. Whereas you can see cell membrane will be intact here also, but here you will find cell membrane is having damage, right? So this is about the cell. Now come to the nuclei or nucleus feature. When you are looking at the nucleus, so now I am going to tell you about the nucleus and what is the difference here. When you are looking at the nucleus, you can see condensation of the chromatin in apoptosis. You remember condensation of the chromatin is the most characteristic feature. Condensation of the chromatin is the most characteristic feature. And here you will see all those changes like pycnosis, karyolysis. So there is a nuclear change. So what I can say that nuclear damage is present here also. Nuclear damage is present in pyroptosis and necroptosis also. But when we are talking about the ferroptosis, nucleus will be normal. Remember, nucleus will be normal and chromatin will be normal. There will be no condensation. So chromatin is absolutely normal. So nucleus is normal means that nuclear membrane is normal, nuclear chromatin is normal, no problem with that thing, right? So now you understood what is the difference, how it differs from the other programmed cell death. Third important thing is the mitochondrial damage. When you will see the electron microscopy of the ferroptosis, mitochondrial damage will be visible. And what is the mitochondrial damage? We will observe here. Mitochondria will be smaller in size, number one. Mitochondria will be smaller in size, number one. Number two, when you will look at the mitochondria outer membrane will be having rupture. So that is the important thing. Outer membrane of the, so we can say that plasma membrane of the mitochondria is ruptured in the outer side. But when you are seeing the inner membrane, of the mitochondria, they are showing dense thickening. And cristae will be reduced or absent. So mitochondrial cristae will be reduced or absent. Right? So now you can see all these findings you will not see in other things. So now you understood what I was saying. Now you can see that even though it is smaller, but you can appreciate I have explained everything. Just I wanted to let you know that how ferroptosis is differing from other programmed cell death. So it is differing from all aspects. Biochemistry, genetics, GPX4 gene is there, GPX4 protein is involved, right? So all these things you have to keep in mind. That ferroptosis, that cell membrane is normal, cell is normal in size, no increase, no decrease, as you see in the decrease in the case of apoptosis. And the mitochondrial changes are very important, can be asked in your future exam. Remember, all these are very important future MCQs. A smaller size of the mitochondria, outer membrane will be showing rupture, inner membrane will be showing the dense thickening of the membrane, and cristae will be reduced or absent. So these four important points you have to keep in mind, right? Coming to the clinical ground, what is the clinico-pathological correlation of the ferroptosis? What is the clinico-pathological correlation of the ferroptosis? So here I want to say that ferroptosis is associated with certain pathological conditions, right? So they are associated with certain pathological conditions, right? So who are these pathological conditions which are associated with this? So remember, number one is the neurodegenerative disorders. So neurodegenerative disorders, which are disorders? So now you can understand Alzheimer's disease, right? So Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, right? And Huntington's disease. See, these are the three important neurodegenerative disorder where you can see ferroptosis. Second, it is also associated with cardiovascular abnormalities, right? Cardiovascular abnormalities, and you can see in the myocardial infarction, ischemia reperfusion injury, right? It can be also associated with the CNS stroke, right? CNS stroke. Ferroptosis can be also associated with the acute lung injury, sorry, acute kidney injury. So acute kidney damage, right? So these are the pathological conditions where you can see the involvement of ferroptosis, right? So these are pathological condition. Here again, I want to say that ferroptosis is also associated with, ferroptosis is also used for cancer therapy. So it is proposed that for the cancer therapy also we can use, because by ferroptosis, how it will be helpful in the cancer therapy? By ferroptosis, tumor cells are killed. So tumor cells are killed, or you can say that tumor cells are damaged, right? So tumor cells are damaged by the ferroptosis mechanism. So what are the tumors which are which can be used for the, which can be utilizing the ferroptosis as their treatment? Is AML, acute myeloid leukemia, diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, and these are the two leukemia lymphomas. And then solid cancer like breast cancer, pancreas cancer, and third one is the renal cell carcinoma. So these are some of the important cancers where you can use ferroptosis for removal or damage of the tumor cells, right? So now you understood this is the ferroptosis. So dear friends, if you like this topic and stay tuned with this, you subscribe my channel, and I will be coming with more updates of the Robbins 10th edition. If you have any query, if you want any other topic to be covered, please post in the comment box, share with the maximum students so that they can have benefit of all that thing. And after that, and in the last, I will say that all the best to all of you.